Chairman King, thank you. Today's legislative hearing focuses on 23 largely parochial bills, as well as the National Park Service's FY25 budget. I'm going to defer my normal introduction for later in the hearing, as I'd like to focus on an important issue that's before us here today. At today's hearing, we have H.R. 4984, the D.C. Robert F. Kennedy Memorial Stadium Campus Revitalization Act. This bill transfers the administration over the RFK Memorial Stadium campus from the Park Service to the District of Columbia for 99 years. The purpose of this transfer is for the development of a new stadium as well as other commercial and residential development. Now, you might ask, why does a Montana senator have a specific interest in this bill? Well, today is about righting a wrong. Specifically, my goal is for the Washington Commanders to honor the pride, the history, and the heritage of the Blackfeet tribe, who are my constituents in Montana, for the tribe's contributions to the team's legacy. Let me tell you the story. Behind me is a photograph from the 1960s of Blackie Wetzel and Senator Robert F. Kennedy. Blackie Wetzel was a member of the Blackfeet Nation in Montana and served his people and the country in many roles throughout his life, including chairman of the Blackfeet tribe, and he was president of the National Congress of American Indians. In 1971, Blackie met with George Herbert Allen, who was then the head coach and general manager of the Washington Redskins. Knowing that Coach Allen admired and supported Native Americans, Blackie Wetzel encouraged him to replace the team's R logo with something that represented Indian country. Blackie brought Coach Allen designs based off of prominent Native American figures, including Blackfeet Chief Two Guns Whitecalf. And behind me, you'll see the logo and the photo of Chief Two Guns Whitecalf. The clear depiction of Chief Two Guns Whitecalf is beyond dispute. On behalf of the team, Coach Allen adopted the new iconic logo that's placed prominently on this beautiful helmet that I received from former players. I am proud to display it here today. Make no mistake, this logo was inspired and envisioned by Wetzel as a tribute to Native Americans. It's not a caricature. It is a depiction of pride, of strength, of courage, of honor. In fact, to quote Blackie Wetzel from 2002, he said, "It made us all so proud to have an Indian on a big-time team." And I would add that historically, as the son of a Montana U.S. Marine, do you realize Native Americans serve our country in uniform at the highest percentage per capita of any ethnic group? They are truly warriors for our country. Now you know the history. I'd like to talk about the future. First, let me be clear. I'm not calling for the return of the former team name, which has become increasingly controversial, especially in Indian country. But the logo itself remains a point of pride for many in Indian country, and specifically for the Wetzel family. I was able to speak last night with Ryan Wetzel, who is the grandson of Blackie Wetzel, who was out, in fact, in his backyard last night doing some remodeling work on a patio just outside of Hamilton, Montana. The failure to properly honor the pride and the history embodied by this iconic logo must be made right by both the team's new ownership and the NFL. Doing so would honor the Blackfeet tribe, my constituents in Montana. Showing proper recognition to the contributions of Native Americans is also fitting for our capital region. As the National Parks website points out, our nation's capital is full of American Indian heritage. Simply look outside at the names in the region. For example, the Potomac River, the Quantico Marine Corps Base, and the Chesapeake Bay watershed that spans much of the geographical region that makes up Washington's fan base. What I'm demanding here is very straightforward, that the new team leadership and the NFL sit down with the Wetzel family, sit down with the Blackfeet, sit down with tribal leaders, and find a way to properly honor the history of the logo and the heritage of our tribal nations, and to rededicate the organization as an advocate for Indian country. That effort might take several forms. It might result in restoring the logo with a new team name that is supported by tribal leaders and will bring unity across communities. It could also be telling the story of the logo's connection to the Wetzel family and honoring the Native communities it represents. When I spoke with Ryan Wetzel last night, we recanted a meeting I had with his dad, Don Wetzel, here in Washington, D.C., talking about this very issue. That was back in 2021. Don died not long afterwards. And Ryan just smiled. You could hear a smile over the phone. He said, my dad would be thrilled to think that we're having this discussion today in Washington in honoring the legacy of this logo. It could be resuming merchandise sales featuring the logo and maybe using a portion of the proceeds to bring awareness to missing and murdered Indigenous women and other tribal causes. For example, on the NFL website, you can buy a retro Houston Oilers jersey with the old logo, but nowhere on the website can you find merchandise with this logo for sale. The new owners in the NFL have the opportunity to heal old wounds, work with families, and enter into a new era. They can properly honor the heritage of the Wetzel family, the Blackfeet tribe, Native Americans across our country. They could honor former players and the community as a whole. There are a lot of former players that have signed this helmet. The team can be a beacon of light for these communities, but until I see meaningful actions that satisfy the Wetzel family and other tribal stakeholders, I cannot support this legislation. With that, Mr. Chairman, I have a number of letters, including one from Ryan Wetzel and one from the Montana Native Women's Coalition, a few news stories, and in fact, an excerpt from George Allen, A Football Life by Mike Richmond, that I ask unanimous consent to enter into the record.
Without objection.
Mr. Chairman, thank you, and I turn it back to you and look forward to the discussion.